What up? What up? It's your boy Ian Vaughn. Welcome to another episode of the Can We Talk R&B podcast. I have a very special guest. Today's guest is one of the most soulful voices emerging from the UK's modern R&B sound. Originally from Denmark and now based in London, she's built a global audience, and I'm one of her fans. I'm telling you right now, I've been a fan for at least the last 5 or 6 years. She is an absolute amazing soulful artist, really holding it down for R&B, and I just love. I love what she's contributing to the ethos of R&B music, and I can't wait to introduce you guys to Marie Dahlstrøm. How are you today? Welcome to the Can We Talk R&B podcast.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me. I'm good. It's in the evening. I'm having a cup of tea. I'm in my living room. I'm feeling really good. Thanks so much for having me.
I love it. Thank you for making the time, for sure, for sure. It's always a pleasure to find what I consider new artists, but to me, you're not so new because you've been around. You've been around some time now, and but I know I'm introducing you to an audience that may not be familiar with your sound. But when I tell you guys, soulful, true to it, like you true to it. So I want to get started and talk about, and we'll talk about my favorite record, and we'll go into all that. But you were born in Denmark and later moved to London. What inspired the move from Denmark to London, and where did this sound come from in the midst of all of that?
Yeah, good question. I think I was a bit tired of kind of the music sound in Denmark. It was very kind of just there was no kind of R&B vibe, so not much like hip hop and not all of the stuff that I just naturally liked listening to. There wasn't much of that. So I was always at the library, like searching for Dwelly records and like finding little like Dr. Jones records and learning Just Got a Piano and like just going for all the classics, you know what I mean? And just being
Yeah,
like, I want to be more in a scene where more people can resonate and where I can feel like I naturally kind of contribute with what I like without thinking so much about it. Because every time I was
yeah,
trying to do something in Denmark, people were like, "Oh, so like and mushy," and I don't like all of this. And so I just eventually I was like, I just gotta go to music school in London then and then work it out. So then I
bro.
moved to London and I studied at the music school here. And then one thing, you meet somebody and the whole thing goes on, and then you end up just staying here. So then I just
Absolutely.
started, making music and doing all my own records and stuff. And then, yeah, I don't think I said to myself, oh, I want to be an artist, is what I want to do. I just think I love music so much, that I just wanted to try and put it out and set up a little label. And yeah, one thing just took the other.
I love it. First of all, you mentioned one of my faves, also Dwayne. That is my guy, Dwele from Detroit. He's such an amazing soulful artist. I haven't heard from him in a minute, but he's amazing. He's amazing. So, was there? I think you just kind of touched on it, but was there any somewhat of an R&B sound in Denmark at all? Like, how did you get introduced to this sound?
I don't actually think there was. I don't feel like, you know what? I had a teacher. I was at some like a music boarding school for 1 year, studying like jazz and doing arrangement and blah blah. And it was just 20 minutes from my house. And there wasn't much boarding school about it. I was like home every weekend. But I had one teacher there, this singer, and we were doing like Angie Stone, I think, like classic I Wish I Didn't Miss You. But I just thought it was so good, and she was introducing me to so much stuff, and we were doing lots of gospel and Kirk Franklin and Marvin Sapp and all of this, and I was like, where does it all come from? Can you introduce me to more? I want to do more, and then I think that kind of made the whole kind of train run, and then I went to the library, and I had my whole India Arie phase, and do you know what I mean? A lot of Kim Burrell, listening to a lot of Kim Burrell, practicing lip
Oh,
singing. Do you know what I mean? It just the whole thing was yeah, the whole
I
thing was
love that.
going.
I love
Sorry about the sound.
No, that's okay. If you can, I'm not sure if you can. If it's like a D&D maybe on there, but that may help. But nonetheless, I love how these artists, and you mentioned in, Kim Burrell, you mentioned in all these amazing Kirk Franklin. These are gospel artists that I know there was a time when that music just didn't seem like it was reaching across the pond. I knew that it was, but and the fact that it's made that type of impact on an artist like yourself, I think that's absolutely fantastic. Was there a specific moment when you
Yeah, no, it
realized
really did.
no, surely. Was there a specific moment when music stopped being like a passion and became something you knew and wanted to pursue for real as a career?
Yeah, I think like when I was kind of starting to put out my first songs and kind of realizing that, a few people liked it, and I was liking it. Then I thought, okay, let me try and do a little bit more. And then I think I just stayed with it. I think I always kind of wanted to be independent and have my own thing and not feeling like I had to write with all these different songwriters and do all of this. So I think there was always an intention to make music and try to drive it forward with the best of my capacity, but also to keep it true to me and to why I liked it.
Yeah.
So because I was, offered deals in the past and, oh, you should go and write with this person, you should go and do this and blah, blah, blah. But I was always like, but I like writing myself, that's why I like making music and trying to, build and find my own voice. And I also
Yes.
think for like fans and listeners, it doesn't need to be this polished project. I think from the beginning, it is okay to see that people have been working on themselves and their craft, through some
Yes. You
time and kind of
right.
build what they are.
Yes.
I
That's
think
very
that's a
important.
good thing.
I agree with you. I think it's very important to show definitely when an audience can grow with you, and they're like, oh man, I like the earlier stuff, but now look where we are now. We've all kind of grown up and matured together. I love that. Your music blends in seamlessly neo soul, jazz, R&B, all of these sounds together. And of course, I think R&B is kind of a bedrock across the board that touches on all of these genres anyway. Um, in a real intimate way, you connect all of these things. How would you describe your sound?
I think you put it quite good somewhere between like some elements of jazz and some elements of R&B and neo soul, whatever you want to call that group of music. I think it's somewhere in between. I think I love groove and I love rhythm. I love rap and hip hop as well. I think it's just all in that kind of. I think also there's actually a lot from gospel as well. Lots of thick stacks. Lots of like a main hook with like loads of stacks and a lot of singing on top of it. Like a lot of layering, like all of that just mixed into whatever comes.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? Yeah.
No, absolutely. I know when I first heard your music, I didn't know where you were from. I thought you were just some soulful black girl from Philadelphia or from, you know what I mean, like from Georgia or and from the states. And then I realized you're a UK artist. I'm like, man, like it's something special. And so many, I mean, I love so many artists from across the pond, but it's something special and pure about the sound that you guys generate from over there. And I know it's inspired heavily from American, or I would just to say Black American music, but it reaches across and is
Yeah.
spreads to so many people from all over the world. And I just love to hear the interpretation back. It's just a very very inspiring thing. Do you is there are there any specific artists that you feel inspire you the most?
I think Music Soulchild for me has been like one of my very main influences. I've literally rinsed everything Music Soulchild alive on this planet. I think I played it on keyboard, and I love his timing of things. I love the tone. There's just so many things about it that I just love. I must say, if I should
I,
pick one who's really been like my go to, I think it's Music Soulchild. I just think I like his riffing and his delivery. I like the choices.
yeah,
And I think he's got really good emotion in his voice. Like there's so much about his the way he does it that I just love.
he's one of the greatest. I love that. It's interesting you mentioned emotion. So like your songs feel very personal rather, and vulnerable. When you write these songs, are you usually writing from real life experiences or reflecting on moments after you've processed them all, or how do you come to the conclusion of writing these records?
Definitely, his real life moments. Is all of it. I think is somewhere in real life. Some of it might be many moments put into one song, and some of it might be more recent, like one episode or something that happened, and then trying to capture it in a song. But I would
Yeah,
say it is very personal. I think you can. For me, I always think like, when is the song good? And I think when I feel something very much from when I just sit in my own zone and sing it, I feel like I hope so, that's when it connects, with somebody out there too. And I'm always trying to write from that place, like from a not too like reactive, but more like in the moment, trying to find what I really want to say and then put that out of the version that I'd like to be, if you know what I mean.
No, I got you. A lot of listeners say your music feels like a conversation, or a diary entry. Is that intentional, or is it part of your creative process?
I think it's not something I ever like said let me do it like this, but I do think that's maybe become what it is. It's like a little bit of a open door to me, maybe to how I am inside, in the soul of me or whatever. So I think I can maybe relate to that. Like it's maybe some a listener's kind of therapy, but it's also kind of mine. Do you know what I mean? So I think maybe like this is a space that me and my listeners can share and all be in like together.
I love that. Your debut album. Let's talk about that. So this is the album that introduced me to you as an artist. Um, like Sand, that introduced many people to your sound. So looking back now, what does that project represent in your life?
Yeah, what does that represent? It was. Oh my god, this thing is driving me mad. It was a really good time. It was the last year in this flat that I lived in with like some really good friends, and I did a whole thing like in my little room, in the corner with like my little old kind of piano and a little laptop, and there was literally nothing fancy about it. Like people were coming over and be like, "Oh, you just bring the sax and put this down here," and so it was just like so down to earth. And
Yes.
I just collected the songs and I was like, this has to be an album now. I've done so many projects. So let me just put that into whatever it will become. And some songs got mixed like really professionally. Some songs I was just like, oh, this is good enough. Let's just get it out there. Do you know what I mean? And not really knowing what impact that it would have. Um,
Yes.
so I think it's kind of just like the purest form of Marie. Just, hey, put it out there, see what the world thinks. It was good to
Right.
make. It was fun.
I love that album so much. Like, and again, we talk about the purity of the sound. It's my favorite record on that album, and still, it's probably still my favorite song from you. Is "Home with You," and I just love, for one, the whole approach to that song is just so in the pocket. Like, happy to be home with you. I mean, it's just so sweet. And of course, I'm not sure who that is who comes in with the talk box at the end, but is that Mr. Talkbox or who's that coming? Because whoever does it, I mean, they come in authentic as hell. Like it's
He's a
amazing.
Starbucks, yeah. It's my friend DT, so yeah, he killed it. He killed it. Yeah. Shout out DT.
He,
Yeah, he killed it. Yeah.
he killed it. Like that song. I mean, I think it just comes on with the right groove, the way you approached it, and then it's like a perfect cake with all the rest of the toppings when he comes in with that talk box bridge. It's so crazy. That record is still so amazing. And honestly, I think I was mentioning to you before. It's if I go down, I always it's on my playlist, and I have a playlist of hundreds of songs that are some of my favorite songs, and that song is 100% on it for sure, for sure.
Yeah.
Your recent album, so that album represents that, but your recent album, Good Life, feels reflective and intentional. So, what inspired the concept behind that type?
I think that was more of like a early motherhood type of album, like in the midst of when you just become a parent, you're like, oh my God, what's actually what's going on here? What am I doing with everything? Like what am I doing with my partner? What am I doing, with everything else around having this person that I'm now looking after? And it was trying to like make music and figure out how is all this gonna work together. Because I do think a lot of things become very real, in your relationship. Though there's so many more things that doesn't really work well when you just have a baby. And I think, as a parent, you're like, oh my God, all this old stuff comes up from your own childhood. You're like, this, I remember this, I remember that. And, at the same time, you just like completely zoned into this new human that you made. So it's kind of like an album about being in the middle of all of that and trying to find time to make music at the same time, and be a present, kind of nurturing parent, and yeah, be a partner to somebody. It was a difficult time in life. Like Confide in
Yes.
Me, for example, very true
Ah,
song about a relationship, that's just like overworked there.
yeah. How do you balance it? Like, how do you balance motherhood and artistry and family and relationship with your partner? How do you balance all that?
um, how do I balance that? I am doing motherhood, my phone away, whenever they're awake. And for example, I have a son who's 1. He sleeps a nap. I do music. They go to sleep
Yeah.
at 8. I do music till 10. I clean up first, and then I do
Yeah.
music. And it's that is the rhythm. That's how I've been doing it, and that's how even this new album that's coming later this year. That's how I did that whole album. I had a newborn baby on my chest. On all the songs recording, if you listen close, you hear all these little extra breaths, that I can't take away because there's a baby breathing in the mic. Like it was. That's just. I was like, it gotta be
That's
done. So it's
that's
gotta be either with them or not having at all.
So do you get an opportunity to tour or perform? Like how do you balance that portion with the kids?
Yeah, so that portion is a little bit harder. I think for this, when they were both very small, like this first year, I just was like, I'm not doing it because it's so stressful on them, and it's just I can just do it when they're just a little bit over that first stage. So later this year,
Sure.
I'm gonna do some shows, and then I feel
Yeah.
good about it, not so caught up if they are not feeling good, and I feel like it has to feel like safe and well for everyone when you're in that
Yeah.
time of your
Sure.
life. It only takes so long, and you only have small children for a few years, and you chose to have them yourself. So
That's right.
gotta make it
And those
work,
are
you know.
those are very essential years for them. But I think that's amazing. Like even I wasn't aware that those extra little breaths. So you hear in the mix, that's the baby. I think that's a special touch and a special signature that you can never recapture. That's amazing.
Yeah, exactly,
Sonically,
exactly.
yeah. So sonically and emotionally, how do you feel you've evolved between Like Sand and Good Life?
I think I can talk about the good things and the bad thing. I think in Like Sand, I was really in my own kind of. I was zoned in to just me, and I think that's when I'm my very best. I think with a good life, I was having a few more people involved. And that's not a bad thing, and it works for a lot of people. But I'm
Sure.
just realizing as I go on making music that for me, I'm the best when I'm just myself and I'm just alone with the microphone and I'm putting in exactly what I'm feeling. If I'm
Yeah.
in a room and you have to like big up yourself a little bit for like a lot of people and try to, oh, let me do this here and try a little riff here and do all of this, it just becomes a bit like actually you don't need all of that. Sometimes you just need to make a few mistakes, sit and redo it and really capture what you want to do. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like
I feel you.
once you become aware of yourself while trying to do something, it's not good.
Yeah. So you're saying like you become more performative um, in the studio, or you have this other person inputting. You trying to, you're not able to just be completely vulnerable, just completely just pour out the true authentic self. Is that what you're saying? Yeah. I know that feeling. I have a
Yeah, just being
story.
like 100%.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
No, yeah, no,
Oh,
it's
okay.
like it's just that feeling, like just being able to be, well, not think about it, not think like how how anyone else is perceiving you whilst you do this, or do you know what I mean? Not, is this good or is this bad, or oh, is this top line good enough here? And once you start all of that reflection whilst writing, I think you lose the writing. That's for later. You can put it down. You don't ever need to show it to anyone if it didn't become very good. So that's for
I
later. Do you know
understand.
what I mean?
Yeah, yeah. I guess I was trying to touch on this thing. I remember producing an artist. I was in the studio with him, and when I got there, he had a bunch of people in the studio, and they were all, and some of them were part of the project, and some of them was just friends in the studio. And he asked me to come in. He wanted me to help produce his vocal
Yeah.
and help arrange some of the records. And when I got in there, it was just that he's singing all over the place. He's doing all this crazy stuff. I'm like, dude, you are not performing at a concert. This is a record. We need to dial it back. And I literally kicked everyone out of the
Mm.
studio. I'm like, you're not a part of this. Everybody get out, just so he don't have to feel that,
Yeah.
that sense of trying to perform. Let's pour it all out on the record, but let's do it, you know, pure in a pure way, and it's gonna we're gonna get a better performance that way. I totally understand that. So you've been open about motherhood. We just talked
100%.
about that. How has that changed your perspective, and how has motherhood influenced you as a creator?
I think it's made me more aware how much like I love music and how much I would be very upset to not be able to have that somewhere in my life, because now I have so little time compared to what I have before. It was a bit more like, oh, you can make a song here and there, you can do whatever. Now it's like
Yeah.
if you want to do a shoot, if you want to do anything, it's have to be planned months in advance and blah blah. So I feel like it made me aware of like, this is something that I really love and something that I really want to do. So that's been really nice to like kind of affirm that to myself. And I also think it made me a lot more focused. I mean, I think I've always been quite focused. I've always been like good at when I sit down to do it, I'm kind of doing it. But I think even more now, like when I say I'm gonna write something, I'm gonna do it. It's gonna have it happening. And that's been really nice to kind of be able to rely on myself with wanting to do something and then getting it done.
Yes.
I think that's a really important
Yes.
thing when you have limited time available.
For sure.
Yeah.
Do you feel like motherhood has unlocked a different level of vulnerability?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, definitely more. Yeah, I think so. I think it's unlocked many layers to also like a little more self-critique, maybe seeing yourself from some angles you don't always like, situations you feel like you did not handle that well, or maybe one day you were a little bit too angry, or maybe one day you were too distracted, like just little things, where I think it opens up the door to like a lot of good work on yourself, and I think that
Yeah.
can definitely come out in songs.
No, for sure. When creating a song, what usually comes first, melody, lyric, or the actual music?
Actually, you know what? Often I just have a beat, like let's say my friend makes something and said like, you want to try something? This, yeah, let me try something. And I just put the headphones on and then I just start singing melody and words at the same time.
Uh-huh.
That's usually how the song comes. I very rarely do I take the beat and then go to the park and sit with my notebook and do lyrics stuff, which I think is cool and it's like in a movie. But I'm just more like put the headphones on and then just start doing stuff. Sometimes it's not.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh no. And sometimes I'm like, oh, actually this was just perfect. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So yeah, I just do it all at the same time.
I love that. I mean, it's no one particular formula. You know what I'm saying? Like a lot of people, they'll just, I know for myself, sometimes I'd have nothing, and I'll just hear a melody, and now I'm humming the melody. I have no words, and then I'll start turning it into words, and then I'll grab my guitar or start playing
Yeah,
something on the keyboard, or if someone sent me a track, same thing. Just I kind of wait for it to deposit, while I'm just pulling at my gift in whatever direction to where the song comes out. I love it. So when you do write songs and that are emotionally heavy, uh, do you feel exposed
mm.
sharing those experiences?
Yeah, definitely. I do feel a bit exposed, but I feel like it's exposed in a way that I can still be okay with, if you know what I mean. I feel like if it's exposing some parts of me, it might also be exposing these parts of somebody listening. Like I'm hoping that somebody listens and will be able to relate to that feeling or that story and find some kind of peace in the music, even if it's kind of like on a negative subject matter. Because I think if
Sure.
we can all just be a bit more honest and realistic, and just then we probably feel better. I think all of us know.
No, for
So
sure.
that's also what I'm looking for when I'm listening to songs. Like I want to feel that. So
That's one thing I love about your music. It's real. It doesn't feel like you're writing about a specific subject from a place of just from an observatory place. It feels like you're writing on this subject from an experience place. you know and I think that resonates with a lot of people that actually in my view tapped into their own personal emotions, or even if they can't specifically relate, the way the song is portrayed, you're able to see yourself in that situation and cipher through. I think that's amazing, and I think that's what's missing in a lot of mainstream R&B for sure, but definitely a lot of backpacker music, or just like when you dig in the crates and you go and find that special artist. I think your music
mm,
feels like that. And that's something that's very important. And I want more people to be exposed to that. I love it. So I think you touched on this, but I had this question written down. Do you prefer writing alone, or do you prefer to collaborate? Now, I do understand to the point you made before. Uh, you feel like you're your best at just being able to express yourself, but in terms of, like you mentioned, a friend of yours may send you a beat. That's essentially a collaboration. So how do you prefer to express yourself in that way?
I love collaboration. I really love collaboration, and I love working with musicians. Real musicians who can play actual instruments and you know use their skills, not just like laptop musicians. I really love musicianship, and so I love collaboration. I don't love so much working with many songwriters in the room except for myself, but I love working with musicians on creating a song and using other people's expertise and skill. Because I mean, there's so many people who can do instrumentation better than me, so why not?
No,
Definitely,
for sure.
that's definitely for sure.
Yeah, and it expands your palette, right? Like, so if you have this proficient piano player or this proficient guitar player, it opens things up for you. You know what I mean? In places where you're like, oh, I was gonna stay here with it, but this one lick or this one chord helps you go to a whole nother place. Yeah, I love that.
Yes, or
Uh,
you might just have, you might have the whole melody in your head. You're with somebody who can do it, and you're like, "This is how I want it to be," but I'm just stuck on finding this chord. Like, I don't know where can you just help me? And he's like, "No, no, no, oh, it's just this." I'm like, "Oh, yeah, it's actually just this," and then you get it, to what you imagined. Like, I think it's so important.
oh, for sure, for sure. So let's switch gears a little bit. Let's talk about mental health and balance. So I know the music industry can be very overwhelming, and what are some of the ways that you protect your peace and stay grounded? Specifically, being an artist and a mother, a family person, like how do you stay grounded?
I do a lot of sports. I do yoga and running, and I used to do like loads of tennis. Tennis used to be like my thing. I used to play on like elite level, like all through my teenage years. So that was a big thing. Um,
Awesome.
and then I'm really kind of, I think I'm also kind of like quite a boring person. I don't smoke, I don't do drugs, I go to sleep at 10, I drink a lot of water, green tea
Yeah,
every
yeah,
night. Like I'm just that stereotypical kind of like, hey, she's so healthy. Like, I'm a little bit
yeah.
like that to an extreme. So I'm just very boring, normal kind of person. What do I do with my life? Spend time with my kids, go to the farm, look at some pigs and horses and have some coffee. Do you know what I mean? Go for a run, come back, have an argument with my boyfriend probably, and then put the kids to sleep, go and make some music, talk to my boyfriend. He's a producer. He produced Home with You. My boyfriend, shout out to Daniel. He's incredible. He's
Come
amazing.
on.
He's so good. He's produced so much of my music.
I might
Yeah.
need to get a
He's
track
helped me
from
so
Daniel.
much.
I might need to get a track from him because he's nice. I like. Okay, I didn't realize that. Okay,
He's ready. Send me to we'll do it. That's gonna be
say
it. He's the one, he's so good. So
say less.
yeah, I mean, and that's been incredible to have that, as a part of our relationship. We can make so much music together. We have the studio in our home, in our little flat here in London, and we're not like limited really by anything. He's also in my live set, he's like my keyboard player. So when we do something,
Awesome.
we just all go out, and it's really that's just
That's
yeah.
awesome.
I'll hook you guys up
That's fantastic.
definitely. You got to do something. I'll jump on the track
That's
too.
fantastic.
Yeah.
Yeah. Don't.
Mm.
Y'all heard it here. Y'all heard it here first. Because I'm actually working on a
You heard
project
of
right
me?
now. So
Yeah.
I love it. Okay. All right. Look, don't get me
Oh yeah.
excited. All right. I love it. Okay. All right. So we're going to talk about. I think that's fantastic. Specifically, I mean, I was about to go to another question, but just saying that having as a couple being able to work together and having an in-house person you can bounce ideas off of, and that just makes it feel that much more real, especially when there's a real connection there. I love that. So, and let's just talk like in
I
terms
mean,
of the
home
R&B
was
culture.
about him. Mm.
Ah, I love that. Shout out to Daniel. Shout out to Daniel.
Yeah.
So talking about R&B
Anyway,
culture,
sorry, you were about to say.
I was gonna say this. So R&B has become such a global genre, to the point I was making earlier. What makes the UK and European R&B so unique compared to the US?
Yeah, good question. Mm, I think when R&B was the best, it had so much gospel influence in it, and it had
That's right.
really, really skilled musicians making these songs. That's what was the
That's right.
best. Like people came from church and they were just really good at music.
That's
Then it became this watered down type of R&B a little bit, where a lot of people just like nee 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 nee, and then just wasn't that. But then I feel like there was like still quite a few people who carried this on or either studied it really well from outside, and then
Yeah.
kind of like I've kept those elements going to build. And I think
Yes.
that gospel scene is still very strong in London. So many producers and musicians are still rooted in that culture. And I do think that's what is bringing quite a lot of quality R&B to the musicianship, at least. As for the singers, I feel like there's many versions of this, good and bad. But at least I think
Yeah.
for the good musicianship parts of it, it comes from that, and it will always be that. So it's
Yes.
it's really sad actually how much of that musicianship we are losing in R&B culture because people don't really study like they did do like in church, and we are
That's right.
going from like true gospels to like the CCM or whatever, this other, no offense, is cool and everything, but we're definitely losing, some of the choral foundations, like some of the stuff that we used to hear. So I
That's
feel
right.
like there's that shift, that is touchy subjects, no? Yeah.
Well, on point. I couldn't have said that better myself. And I think to add to what you're saying, all of those influences when R&B was its best was all these amazing musicians, and I grew up very heavy in that, so I take that to heart. So I know exactly what you're referring to. But to talk about the music coming out of London or coming out of the UK or just out of Europe in general, tapping into what we in America had been doing 10, 20, 30 years ago and keeping that authenticity and adding that to the culture now because in some levels, because in America we may have created that sound and we've kind of gone past some of it, but a lot of times we have lost some of the things that made it what it was. So I think that's very important, a very key thing. And me being a musician myself, I realize and recognize when there are elite musicians that who really studied, who really understand what they're playing, understand what they're doing. That tells a different story, and it actually speaks a different language than just programming on a computer. You know, and I love to do that too, but it's a matter of finding that balance to be able to incorporate it all. Hmm. Important.
100%.
So
That's exactly what it is. And you can do both. You don't have to be either or, but you can definitely feel if you're only the computer thing, it's a
that's right.
you just get a different quality out of it.
Absolutely, for sure. Who are some of the artists right now that keep you creatively inspired?
Who do I like right now? That's a good question. I mean, there's some obvious ones. I've always liked Alex Isley, for example. I'm always gonna like Alex Isley. I just think she's amazing. She's been doing a thing for a while, and I think she's still doing a thing. She's just amazing. And like from the UK, I think Sasha Kierbo is doing really well. I think she is. I think she's just good at what she is doing, and she does it well, and she sings well. So she's just really good. I think. Um, who else do I like at the moment? I mean, then there's like more kind of not right here, right now artists, but like for example, Janaiko, I think was amazing for a really, really long time. I think, talking about emotion and delivery, like little choices, I think she was really good at that, man. Like where to a level where I don't feel like many people still got that same
Yeah,
emotion in their delivery. Like she's really good at like, yeah, being in touch with whatever it was that made it so important, I think.
yeah,
Um,
very
yeah.
important to the culture. Yeah, Janae, very important to the culture. So I have some quick hits, one word answers. Okay, one word that describes your sound.
Vulnerable.
Vulnerable, love it. All right, dream collaboration.
J. Cole.
All right. All right. A song that you wish you wrote.
What is it called? I'm Coming Back, Lala Hathaway.
Strong. Okay, well, Marie, we fucks with you over here, Marie. We fucks with you. I love it. I love that. I love it. Okay. Um, One word answer: a love song or a breakup song? I guess those are 2 words, but
I love song.
powerful. And finish this sentence. R&B is today. R&B today is missing what?
Gospel.
Come on, girl. Yes. Love every answer. This was The Price is Right. You would have won $10,000. I love it. I love it. All right. So when listeners finish listening to A Good Life, what do you hope they take away from the music, and what can we expect for the new album that's coming up?
From A Good Life, I hope they can find like a little. They can see all the good with the bad, like all the difficult times in life with all the good ones. I hope that they can like strike that balance about, because I think it really is that fine line every day. You have the good and you have the bad, and that is life, and you gotta still make that really magical and important. I hope people can find that from that album. Be frustrated and listen to maybe Confide in Me or something, and be really happy and be grateful and listen to A Good Life, or like be in love, listen to like The World Feels a Little Brighter, trying to, that's what I hope they can take from that.
I love that. And the newest single, I hate that it just slipped my mind, but the newest single that's out right now is Frostbite. Can we talk about that a little bit? I love that record. Talk about the inspiration of that song and what are we to take from it?
What's the take from that one? That one was actually written in my parents' house in the basement, on my old piano in my old room, and me and Danny were just sitting doing something. I think it was just like a super random moment like before having dinner. Oh, let's just play around the piano, and then it just kind of came.
Right.
And then we were just like, let's put this down. This sounds nice, and it was super winter in Denmark, like loads of snow and really cold. So I just feel like it captured that mood, and I had all of that in my mind. And then that song was like, how I said, some songs are made from an instant moment and some songs are more like drawn from many experiences. And this one was like drawn from super many different experiences. I think probably from like when I was walking through, my parents' house and thinking about all these different things I had and people that was here and, like all these experiences that's been in my life that are gone kind of thing. So it was kind of like some random memory lane feeling. And it just came. So I just thought, okay, it was in the moment. It took the songs that are quick to write for me are usually the best ones, and it was quick. So I thought, let's go with it.
I feel the same way when it's just when it comes out in 5-10 minutes. I'm like, oh man, you just knew it. You didn't have to force it too much. I love it. Marie, it's been an absolute pleasure speaking with you. Thank you for making the time to introduce yourself to the Can We Talk R&B podcast interview. Well, not interview, but audience rather. I thank you so much, and we're gonna be in touch with you because I really love what you're doing, and I'm reaching out. I gotta get a track straight up. Say less.
We were ready, so let's do it. Thank you so much for having me. It's been so nice to speak to you.
Absolutely.
Oh, we are, yeah.
And as always, this is a continued conversation. We got Marie Dahlstrøm in the building. Can we talk R&B? Peace.
Can we talk? Oh, can we talk? Can we talk?